Alright, we got another video. This one is called She Flew to Florida After Tracking Her Ex and Caught Him with Her Best Friend. Oh no.
That lady went on a Jet2 holiday from New York to Florida to go unalive a lady because she was messing with her man. Not a lady. The girl was like 23. And I want to say at the time she was 27 or 28. And from what I understand, she was in a long distance relationship with the dude.
Family member described the last 3 years as
That
torture.
don't make no sense.
But today was the day they all hoped for.
We, the jury, find as follows as defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
The moment I heard guilty, it was what we all needed for closure in this moment to move forward, to start our healing process. It's been a long 3.5
Rival,
years.
31-year-old Sakina Thompson is accused of traveling from New York to Tamarack and stabbing her boyfriend's lover to death.
Kayla Hodgson was murdered in her home in Tamarack back in July of 2022. And this video that shows the brutal crime scene, we've blurred much of it for you, but we do want to warn you that it is graphic and disturbing.
July 13th, 2022. Someone found Kayla Hodgson dead in her apartment in Tamarack, Florida. She'd been stabbed multiple times. Hours later, Sakina Thompson and her boyfriend Terry boarded a flight from Fort Lauderdale back to New York, acting like they'd just finished a normal trip. By the time police processed the crime scene, Sakina was already home in Queens. Investigators had questions. The GPS tracker showed the apartment complex, not the building, not the unit number. So how did Sakina know which door to knock on? Before we get too deep, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you find value in these discussions. Kayla Hodgson was born June 17, 2000 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She was 23. She worked as a bartender for private events. Friends described her as bright and beautiful. Former employers said she brought real energy to every party she worked. One person who knew her said she was everybody's hype man, the person always ready with kind words, always making people feel good. Kayla was saving money. For over 2 years, she'd been putting paychecks aside. The goal? Open her own cocktail lounge. She'd just moved into Tamarack Village, a quiet apartment complex in Broward County, the kind of suburban area where nothing really happens. Low crime, safe. 23 years old, new apartment, savings building, plans in motion. She was just getting started. Sakina Thompson, 28 years old. She did nails in Springfield Gardens, Queens. She was talented, built up a solid client base. People would travel across the city just to book an appointment with her. She'd even done work internationally, including a trip to London. Sakina had her business together. Sakina's social media told its own story. She posted about Terry constantly. Pictures together, videos of them sleeping, her showing off expensive purchases, designer bags, jewelry, the works. One video has her opening what looks like a Chanel bag while friends surround her screaming like she won something major. Then there were the other videos, the ones where Sakina talked about throwing hands.
That I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
Comments were full of laughing emojis. People treated it like entertainment, tough girl persona. Turns out, she meant every word. Sakina and Terry broke up and got back together more times than anyone could count.
Honestly, yeah, that's a toxic couple right there. Any couple that just be breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, that's a toxic couple. I ain't gonna lie. If you break up once, what's the point of you getting back together? Like, that's toxic. That's toxic, odd, and weird. Like, what's the point of just breaking up and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together, breaking up? Like, y'all just taking what they call breaks. Y'all just taking breaks, then getting back together. At that point.
Breakup played out on social media. Angry posts, subtweets, then suddenly couple photos again like nothing ever happened. Friends noticed how consumed Sakina was by the relationship. Her conversations, her posts, her—
Did this nigga get the draws with her face on? Oh, hell no. She must have been beating him.
decisions, everything came back to Terry. As one friend later told police, that relationship was her whole identity. Weeks earlier in Miami, Memorial Day weekend, Sakina and Terry had flown down to party. Social media showed them having fun. Club photos, couple shots, all smiles. Somewhere during that trip, Terry connected with Kayla. Sakina found out about it, and she started planning. Friends said Sakina became obsessed with figuring out who this woman was. She'd already been suspicious of Terry for a while. Their relationship was rocky, always had been. But this felt different to her. This wasn't just some random girl Terry flirted with at a party. This was someone he kept going back to. Someone he was flying to Florida to see. Someone he was spending hours with. By late June, Sakina was spiraling, constantly asking questions about Terry's whereabouts, demanding photographic proof when he said he was somewhere. Terry told Sakina the trips to Florida were for work, real estate meetings. It was believable. He did work in real estate. On June 30th, Sakina ordered a small magnetic device designed to stick under a car and connect to your phone. She paid extra for overnight shipping.
When you're doing all this, it's time to end the relationship. But like they said before, they were breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, and getting back together. And this is just too much. Like, once it gets to a point where you buying stuff to track them physically, like you buying GPS trackers to place on a phone, like stick it in a phone case, stick it in a purse or a wallet, stick it on a card. It gets to a point. It gets to a point where it's like, where you gotta do all of it. When you gotta do all of this, it's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it anymore.
July 3rd, while Terry slept, she went outside and attached it underneath his Range Rover. For over a week after that, Sakina had eyes on him. Every time he told her he was going somewhere, she'd pull up the app. There it was, Florida, an apartment complex in Tamarack. Parked for hours. That was the confirmation Sakina needed. She knew where he was going. She knew who he was with, and she had the exact address. She booked a one-way flight to Fort Lauderdale, July 13th, 2022. Sakina landed in Fort Lauderdale and rented a car at the airport. She drove straight to Tamarack Village. She'd been watching that address for over a week. Now she was there. The apartment complex, ground floor units. Kayla's apartment was Unit 107. Sakina went to the door. Hours later, a neighbor at Tamarack Village noticed something was wrong. The neighbor had heard unusual sounds from Kayla's apartment that afternoon.
Well, how'd she know what apartment he was in? Because, yeah, the tracker tracked to Tamarack apartment complex, but how did she know that he was in what building number, ground unit? Because she only had it on his car.
Loud voices, something that sounded like a struggle, then silence. Around 7 p.m., the neighbor tried knocking. No answer. The neighbor tried the door. It was unlocked. The neighbor pushed it open. Kayla was on the floor, not moving. The neighbor called 911 at 7:14 p.m. Broward County Sheriff's deputies arrived within minutes. They found Kayla Hodgson deceased inside her apartment. The scene was violent. Blood spatter on the walls near the entrance. Furniture overturned. Clear signs of a physical struggle. Homicide detectives were called in immediately. They secured the scene and began processing evidence. The positioning of the body, blood patterns, displaced furniture, photographs taken from every angle, DNA samples collected. No signs of forced entry. The door had been unlocked when the neighbor found Kayla.
Elisa, thanks. And now to a tragedy in Tamarack after a woman is found dead. 7's Samantha Sosa is there live with more on the investigation and what we know about the victim. Samantha.
Tavares, good afternoon. The Broward County Sheriff's Office's mobile command center is still here on the scene as investigators continue processing evidence here. And now the Sheriff's Office is officially calling this a murder investigation.
The medical examiner arrived to examine the body. Preliminary assessment, blunt force trauma and stab wounds. The official autopsy would come later, but the injuries were severe. Kayla had been stabbed multiple times. Detectives interviewed neighbors. The footage was time-stamped. It showed a woman arriving at Kayla's door around 2 p.m. The woman knocked. Kayla opened the door. They appeared to speak briefly. Both women went inside. The door closed. 12 minutes later, the same woman emerged from the apartment, alone. She walked quickly toward the parking lot. Her clothing looked disheveled. She got into a car and drove away. Detectives ran the license plate from the footage. Rental car. Picked up that morning at Fort Lauderdale Airport. The rental agreement came back to a name, Sakina Thompson. Address in Queens, New York.
These people stupid. These people don't know how to do crime. Why would you rent a car to go kill someone? Why would you rent? You buy a car off of Facebook, cash. You go to the apartment. You do your killing there. Then you use the car. Man.
Detectives pulled Sakina's information. No prior criminal record in Florida. They needed to know who she was and why she'd been at Kayla's apartment. Then they found Kayla's phone. Text messages between Kayla and someone named Terry. Hundreds of messages dating back 6 weeks. The messages were flirtatious, making plans to see each other, photos exchanged. Terry's full name was in the contacts. Detectives ran him. He lived in New York, Queens, same city as Sakina Thompson. That couldn't be a coincidence. They pulled Terry's phone records, confirmed constant communication with Kayla over the past 6 weeks. They pulled his travel records, multiple flights to Fort Lauderdale in recent months, hotel stays near Tamarack Village, credit card charges at restaurants in the area. Terry had been coming to Florida regularly to see Kayla. Detectives pulled flight records for July 13th. Sakina Thompson had flown into Fort Lauderdale that morning, but there was more. That same evening, Sakina Thompson and Terry boarded a flight together back to New York, hours after Kayla's body was discovered. The connection was clear. Terry had been involved with Kayla. Someone connected to Terry, Sakina Thompson, had flown to Florida that same day. That same person was captured on doorbell footage entering Kayla's apartment. And now Kayla was dead. Detectives needed to find Sakina Thompson, and they needed to talk to Terry.
By the time they identified Sakina as their primary suspect, she was already back in Queens.
Her social media showed no indication of what had happened. No post about Florida, nothing unusual. She was acting like she'd just returned from a normal trip. Detectives contacted NYPD. They needed Sakina Thompson brought in for questioning. The investigation was building. But for Kayla's family and friends, the shock was just beginning. The community was devastated. Kayla had been loved. She was bright. She was kind. She was just 23 years old. Through tears, they remembered her smile, her energy, the way she made everyone feel welcome, the way she lit up every room. July 14th, 2022. NYPD located Sakina at her apartment in Springfield Gardens, Queens. Sakina was brought to the precinct that afternoon. She wasn't under arrest at this point. She was free to leave. But detectives needed answers. They asked her about July 13th. Where had she been? Had she traveled anywhere? Sakina's story was simple. She'd gone to Florida with Terry, a quick trip. They'd flown down together and flown back together that same day. Just a day trip. Detectives asked why they'd gone to Florida. Detectives showed her a photo of Kayla Hodgson. Did she know this woman? Sakina said no, never seen her before. They turned their attention to Terry. Terry was brought in for questioning the same day. He told detectives he'd gone to Florida with Sakina on July 13th. They'd looked at properties together, real estate investment opportunities. Detectives asked if he knew Kayla Hodgson. Terry hesitated, then admitted he knew her. They'd met a few months back. They'd been texting, but it wasn't serious, just talking. Detectives showed him the phone records, hundreds of messages over 6 weeks, multiple trips to Florida to see her, hotel stays near her apartment. Terry admitted he'd been seeing Kayla, but he said Sakina didn't know about it. Detectives asked where he was on July 13th between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m., the time Kayla was killed. Terry said he was in Fort Lauderdale, at a coffee shop, waiting for Sakina. She'd said she had something to take care of. He didn't know what. She'd taken the rental car and told him she'd be back in a couple hours. Detectives asked if he knew Sakina had gone to Tamarack that day. Terry said no, he had no idea. Detectives asked if Sakina knew about Kayla. Terry admitted she'd suspected he was seeing someone. She'd been asking questions, demanding to know where he was going, but he didn't think she knew who Kayla was or where she lived. Detectives didn't believe him. They also pulled the GPS data from the rental car Sakina had driven on July 13th. The car had gone from Fort Lauderdale Airport directly to Tamarack Village, stayed there for approximately 30 minutes, then drove back to Fort Lauderdale. The timeline matched exactly with the doorbell footage. Forensic teams processed the evidence collected from Kayla's apartment. DNA samples were analyzed. Fingerprints were lifted. Blood spatter patterns were examined. They found DNA evidence that didn't belong to Kayla. It was found on the doorframe, on the wall near where Kayla's body was found, on displaced furniture. They ran it through the system, no match in any criminal database. But they had the sample. They just needed a comparison. Detectives obtained a warrant for Sakina's DNA. The case was building.
On July 25th, 2022, detectives obtained an arrest warrant for Sakina Thompson, first-degree murder.
August 3rd, 2022, NYPD officers arrested Sakina Thompson at her home in Springfield Gardens, Queens. She was taken into custody without incident. Sakina was held at Rikers Island in New York, no bond. She was awaiting extradition to Florida. The news spread quickly.
The new details tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month
And she's smiling in her mugshot.
inside her apartment in Tamarack. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakina Thompson, is now in custody. CBS source Peter Adinch joins us live from the Tamarack Village complex with the very latest on this story. Peter.
Well, Naja, BSO says that the suspect was arrested in a neighborhood in Queens. That was 3 weeks after the homicide here. It's also where residents are relieved. Shayla Hernandez was horrified by the murder of her neighbor, identified by friends and family members as 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson, seen here and in photos in a post from loved ones on a fundraising website. BSO says they responded to Hodgson's second-floor apartment on July 13th after a 911 call about an unresponsive woman. They say they discovered that Hodgson died at the scene here at the Tamarack Village complex. On July 25th, a warrant was issued for 28-year-old Sakina Thompson. She was arrested on Wednesday in New York City.
Making an arrest makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
BSO is not saying what led them to their suspect, but an arrest affidavit says Sakina Thompson was demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life by stabbing with a sharp object with a premeditated intent to cause death.
I am very happy to hear about it.
Ooh, if she gets hit with a premeditated, you could put a fork in her. She's done. That premeditated does everything. That changes everything. Because that means that you planned this out. Oh yeah.
Because we were scared. We heard different stories from different people, and I happen to live on the floor above her, so I'm very happy. It makes me feel a lot better and more secure that they finally arrested somebody.
BSO has not said what the motive was. It's not clear when Thompson will be extradited. Right now, she is charged with first-degree murder. We are live in Tamarack. Peter Dench, CBS 4 News.
The woman suspected of killing Kayla Hodgson had been arrested. Kayla's family and friends felt a wave of relief. Someone was being held accountable. The person who took Kayla from them was in custody. But for Sakina, reality was setting in. She was pregnant, and she was in jail. Sakina was extradited to Broward County, Florida. She was booked into the North Broward Bureau Jail in Pompano Beach, held without bond, facing first-degree murder charges. The glamorous life she'd posted about on social media was gone. Designer bags, nights out, couple photos with Terry.
She sacrificed all that to go kill a woman. If it was that much to it, she should have just left him. But it was breaking up and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together. Now you sacrificed all that freedom. For what?
All of it replaced with a jail cell. As the weeks turned into months, Sakina's pregnancy progressed, and she realized the gravity of her situation. She was going to give birth in jail, while fighting a murder charge. In desperation, Sakina wrote a letter.
And she was pregnant? Wait, no. I was about to say, did she kill her while she was pregnant? But no. No, I don't think she killed her while she was pregnant. If she killed her while she was pregnant, that would be crazy. You got a baby forming in you, and you killing folks?
To the judge overseeing her case, Judge Casey. The letter read, "To your Honorable Judge Casey, I'm writing this letter to you in hopes of finding mercy from the court to allow me to give birth outside of jail while also fighting my case. Please have sympathy for me, being that I am a first-time mother and have no priors. Never been in trouble before. I am terrified of going into labor while incarcerated because this facility is not properly suitable to accommodate a pregnant woman. I have been incarcerated since August 3rd, 2022, and due February 17th, 2023. Spending my entire pregnancy locked up has been stressful. I have a stable place as well as family to vouch for me. I'm asking you for the opportunity to mother my newborn baby while I fight for my innocence. Please take everything that I have said into consideration while making a decision on whether I may be released on bond, pretrial monitor, etc." She was
No. No. Straight like that. No.
asking for mercy, for sympathy, for a chance to be a mother outside of jail. The judge denied Sakina's request.
No. What you think you is? You special? Do you know how many women have had birth in jail? Do you know how many people have had babies while they was locked up and incarcerated? They do not care about you being pregnant.
She remained in custody, and she gave birth to her baby while incarcerated.
Yeah.
Terry was never charged. Detectives concluded he hadn't known what Sakina was planning. His alibi for the time of the murder checked out. Surveillance footage from the coffee shop confirmed he'd been there when Kayla was killed. But his role in creating the situation was undeniable. His deceit had set everything in motion. The case moved forward. Discovery, motions, pretrial hearings. Sakina pleaded not guilty. She maintained her innocence. On social media, opinions were divided. Some called Sakina a murderer, a jealous girlfriend who killed an innocent woman over a man. Others debated the details. Some blamed Terry for his lies. But most agreed on one thing: Kayla didn't deserve what happened to her. For nearly 3 years, the case moved through the legal system. Delays, continuances, legal maneuvering. Kayla's family waited. 3 years of waiting for justice. 3 years of grief. 3 years of wondering if the person who killed their daughter would be held accountable. Finally, in 2025, the trial date was set. Sakina Thompson would face a jury, and the truth of what happened on July 13th, 2022 would finally come out. The trial began in 2025, more than 3 years after Kayla's death. Prosecutors argued the killing was planned. Sakina Thompson had tracked Terry for over a week. She knew where Kayla lived. She booked a one-way flight to Florida.
Oh yeah, premeditated. Yep, premeditated.
She went to that apartment with intent. The defense argued self-defense. They claimed Kayla attacked first, that Sakina feared for her life. Then Sakina did something rare in murder trials. She took the stand in her own defense. Kayla's friends and family filled the courtroom gallery. They'd waited 3 years for this moment. Sakina told the jury she went to Kayla's apartment uninvited. She wanted to talk woman to woman about the fact they were dating the same man. She said when she got there, she knocked. Kayla answered. They talked. Then things escalated. Prosecutors questioned her about what happened next. Sakina claimed Kayla attacked her first, started punching her in the face. The prosecutor asked where on her face. Sakina couldn't remember specific details, just that Kayla was punching her. The prosecutor pressed. This is why you killed her, right? Because she was frightening you? Sakina said no. She said she killed Kayla because Kayla took a piece of glass from a hookah and slashed her stomach. She said she was 2 months pregnant at the time. She feared for her baby.
She killed someone at 2 months pregnant?
Baby. She said she grabbed the glass from Kayla, and then she blacked out.
Remember, but everywhere on my face.
You don't remember where she was punching in your face?
In my face.
I mean, this is why you killed her, right?
No.
Right?
No.
It's not?
No.
You didn't kill her because she was fighting you?
No, I killed her because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach.
She said when she came to, Kayla was dead on the floor. Autopsy photos showed Kayla had been stabbed dozens of times. Prosecutors walked Sakina through what happened after. She admitted she changed into Kayla's clothes, cleaned up parts of the crime scene, and she threw evidence in the trash. Her jacket had been cut during the struggle. She admitted she was too scared to call police. Prosecutors also brought up the months before the murder. Sakina had tried to contact Kayla on Instagram. Kayla had blocked her, then ignored her message. The prosecutor asked if that made her angry. Sakina admitted it did.
You wrote her on IG, and she, in fact, ignored your message initially, correct?
Correct.
And that made you angry?
Correct.
The state argued Sakina was upset enough to kill. She'd been tracking Terry, watching him go to Kayla's apartment over and over. She'd gotten on a plane, rented a car, driven to Tamarack, found the apartment. This wasn't self-defense. This was murder. The defense rested their case. The jury began deliberations. The jury returned with a verdict: guilty. Murder in the first degree. The courtroom erupted.
We, the jury, find as follows as defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Kayla's family cried.
Guilty.
Not tears of sadness this time. Tears of relief. Tears of justice. One family member said it was what they all needed to start healing, to move forward, after 3.5 long years.
I heard guilty. It was what we all needed for closure in this moment, to move forward, to start our healing process. It's been a long 3.5 years.
Another said simply, we finally have some justice for Kayla.
We finally have some justice for Kayla.
They said Kayla didn't deserve to die the way she did, and the jury saw the truth.
In this moment, that the jury was able to see the story for what it is, that Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did.
Sakina Thompson was convicted of first-degree murder. She would face life in prison. Terry was never charged with any crime. He wasn't in that apartment. He didn't know what Sakina was planning. Legally, he bore no responsibility for what happened. But his lies created the circumstances. His cheating, his deception. He told...
All right, that's enough of that. Now, yes, he was cheating. I'll give you that. He was cheating. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say that, gang, you knew what he was doing. He was cheating. Why didn't you do one of many things? Bring it to his face? You could have left. Like, the many things, you could have beaten on him like you've been beating on him before. Like, there's like many ways that she could have gone about this. She knew that he was cheating because she placed a GPS tracker on his car. So the jig was up once she placed that tracker on him, and she saw that he was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to Tamarack and going to the apartment. So she been knew that he was cheating. This wasn't nothing new. And in fact, she even admitted that she blocked the woman when she tried to message her. So you already like knew what was going on. So you came up there with a premeditated plan to go murder that woman. He didn't provoke her to go murder her or go. He didn't dangle it in her face. So, like, yes, he was cheating, but him cheating doesn't provoke anybody, especially not her, to go out there and go murder the person that he was cheating on her with. I've been cheated on and dumped several times in my life, but I never imagined even confronting anyone over it, much less taking someone out. Now he can cheat in peace. Exactly. Like, you in jail, you in prison, and he's out free. Now he can be who we want to be, like go and be with a bunch of women, and you locked up. Like, that's why I say it was a toxic relationship from the start. This chick is completely unhinged. So glad justice was served. My condolences to the family of this beautiful young soul. All this over a man. Now she locked up. Exactly. Now she locked up and can't have no man. And she killed this poor girl while pregnant. Oh yeah, she did. Oh, and now she can't even talk with her child or be with her child. Oh, I forgot that she was pregnant. Oh. So now he's with the child, can start a whole nother family because the child's still young. He could be so petty to not even tell the child that her mother is in prison somewhere. He can start a whole new family and leave her out of it. And she can't do nothing about it. That's stupid.
It's too many dead presidents. Want this life, but I showed her a glimpse. The bottom of shoes ain't red. I'm sipping Easter pink, baby. I keep a pint in a Maybach fridge. I don't like fucking with bum assholes. I got a good reputation. How we got people you nameless? I've been the same since the fame hit. I feel like Saturn had too many rings. Off Miley Cyrus, got her geek. I got too many hoes from A to Z. This not a drill, bitch, like I'm V's. Slam a bitch like smack down in the ring. Missed calls, I ain't hear my cell phone ring. Come hideaway with a real nigga. Know you feel important.